They were seen in the McCormick Woods neighborhood of Port Orchard, a whole gang of them, a pack of kids wandering around on the streets, up to who knows what. Alea Kelly, the 8-year-old blonde girl in front, appeared to be the ringleader.
I was really bored, so I wanted something to do.
The little mob was seen walking up to house after house, ringing doorbells. Michael and Jenny Kelly are used to having a bunch of kids around.
We have a little bubble of kids that like to hang out, and we're used to them just playing out front.
But the other day, the strangest thing happened. Alea walked in and dumped a bunch of dough on the table.
Alea has this wad of cash all folded up in like little fours from every single house and dumps it on the table, and it's just cash all over the table, and we were completely confused.
And so when Mom and Dad ordered her to spill her guts, the story unfolded.
So I thought it would be really fun to make a fundraiser for poor children.
When asked to explain what a fundraiser is, Alea said this.
Well, basically fundraisers are you set up lots of games and stuff, and people can give you money for something that you plan for to give.
And so Alea and her brother Beckham, who is 5, and little London, who is 3, decided to put on a kind of carnival in the Kellys' driveway. They put out the call, and the other neighborhood kids came running. They huddled up and made a plan to charge neighbors to come over and play games in the driveway. Just watching London shoot and dribble would have been worth the price of admission. And so they hit the streets.
Well, I would say, hi, we have this fundraiser, and I'm wondering if you can come play or donate money. And then they would usually donate money instead of play.
Barbie Olstead heard a knock at the door, and there they were. No charity paperwork, no identification.
And she said, well, we're doing this because we want to help the poor children. And I said, you do? Well, what is the money for? And she said, to help the poor children.
Barbie said she couldn't attend the show in the driveway, so she made a donation.
How much money did you give them?
I gave him a 20.
You did?
Well, it's all I had.
A little later, Gary and Vicky Selke's doorbell rang.
About something about wanting to get money for some charities, but it was still kind of not really clear. But the girl had like a wad of cash. And I'm looking at that wad of cash and I'm going, wow, they're pretty successful.
The Selkes couldn't attend the driveway show either.
And they're really too young to be scammers, so I gave them a couple of bucks.
Turns out nobody could really attend Alea's show, but most of them wanted to donate.
Some people say, why do you really want money? And people say, is this a scam? And I'm like, no.
And that's where the pile of cash came from, 120 bucks. And then
in our neighborhood group, a Facebook post popped up asking about, a gang of kids coming door to door. Anyone talk to a group of kids going around this afternoon, knocking on doors, saying they're collecting money for the poor kids. No pamphlets or anything, no name of the organization or anything. Sounded kind of fishy.
the Kellys had a talk with their little ringleader about how you can't just walk around asking neighbors for money. Alea told them she just wanted to help children who aren't as lucky as she is.
Because I felt inside that poor children really need something to eat, have a home, and feel at least a little bit at home.
So the Kellys matched the $120 for a total of $240, and they gave it to Mary's Place and a Parkinson's Disease Foundation. And the next day, Alea and a friend were back on the streets, this time with an apology and a written explanation of how the whole thing had played out. And that is how there came to be a gang of kids wandering the streets of the McCormick Woods neighborhood in Port Orchard.